Hi Ketan, welcome to EBC Learning Studios. Friends, today with me I have Ketan Mukhija. He is partner with Link Legal. So Ketan, we'll start from the very beginning. You have done your law from Nalsar, we know that. So how did you decided to do the law? What was your decision-making thought process as a young adult, I can say?
Thank you, Charu, for having me.
Sure.
And to answer your question, I think law happened to me by chance, not by choice. I don't have any forefathers practicing law. Therefore, it happened more by chance. And at that time, when I gave the entrance, there used to be no CLAT. There used to be specific law entrance examinations. And in fact, after my 12th standard in Agra, I spent 1 year in the Delhi University, in the North Campus in SRCC, doing BCom honors, which is in itself a coveted kind of a course. But after that, we decided, we meaning a bunch of friends who actually, graduated from the same school in Agra, decided to take the exam, decided to take this shot, and I landed in Nalsar. That's how it happened, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah. So how was at Nalsar? How was the environment? How did you feel?
In Nalsar was a spectacular experience. I think, right from professors and specific reference to Professors Ghanshyam Singh and Professor Ranbir Singh. Professor Ghanshyam Singh is no longer with us, but I think, they were my pillars of support and strength. They, of course, gave us the right opportunities to be able to capitalize and optimize on. I was lucky enough to be able to participate in several research projects which were awarded to the university under the guidance of the faculty. And I was also fortunate enough to be a part of the moot court competitions, which again, form an integral part of your legal curriculum. So it was a tremendous experience, I would say. And plus, of course, accompanied by the great alumni network that we have. It added to the enriching of knowledge and the overall experience as such. So I'm again, very proud of the law school that I've had, and I have several good memories, innumerable several good memories.
Would you like to share some of them?
Yes, of course. So in fact, when I mentioned Professor Ghanshyam Singh, so him and I have had the opportunity of participating in several seminars and workshops together. So we traveled, and he was kind enough to give me a chance to present the thoughts in several seminars out in the open, right in front of the audience when I was not even prepared. So it was like a sink or swim kind of an experience, wherein I just managed to swim to the shore. But that gave me a boost of confidence. And I still have a lot of memories, and I cherish them and relish them each day.
So as a lawyer, it is swim or sink every day for us.
Correct.
Right. And you got that opportunity right from your law school days.
That is correct. And when I graduated, I think, right from PNA experience, again, we did a host of transactions by ourselves. It was a lean team. So every law firm, as you're aware, has different kind of structural and functional frameworks. Right. So at PNA, we had a lean team, but the kind of transactions that we did, right from the private equity transactions for SoftBank, for Schneider, we did a lot of strategic acquisitions. So again, it was learning on the job, but again, we proved to be a sink or swim experience. But I think, in retrospect, it was the learning foundation and the stepping stone to where I am now.
Right. So you were in-house also, as I read about you.
Yes. After PNA, I joined another firm, but I got a good opportunity with Shrey Group of Companies, which was... I was a part of the CMD secretariat there.
Right.
And the group comprised almost 300 entities offshore and onshore. So it was an amalgam of both domestic and international experience for me. I think, that's where I learned that numbers tell you a greater story than words. Oh. And the kind of commercial, technical, business side of things added to the legal acumen really taught me a lot. So it was a good learning curve. And as part of the same, I think, my skill set as a lawyer got enriched. And my experience with various aspects of infrastructure, with various aspects of the industry also got enhanced at the same time.
So you were part of Herbert Smith also for some time.
Yes.
I think you worked with London office?
That's correct, Charu. Yeah. I spent a short while at Herbert Smith London offices, during which time I recall vividly that I was part of two major transactions. In fact, when Tata Motors acquired Land Rover and Jaguar, so it was the largest team. I was a part of that team that advised and represented Tata Motors on this mega acquisition.
Right.
And I also was part of the team that advised Bradford and Bingley, which was the UK's biggest buy-to-let lender at that time. It was just before the recession had struck, and but it was a wonderful experience working with 1,000 lawyers as opposed to 100 lawyers, in Indian law firms. Of course, the size matters, and the horizons. It was a global experience, to say the least.
So you are doing this corporate learning, advanced corporate learning course with EBC Learning, right?
Correct.
You are teaching this mergers and acquisition, M&A activities as you call. So what prompted you to do this course on M&A?
Sure. So I think, Charu, as part of Link Legal now, I lead the team in corporate, and we do several transactions on an ongoing basis. So when we hire,
right,
whether it's interns or A0s or PQ1s or different lateral hires, we see that, we tell them very specifically that, we are seeing you as an asset. So when an asset joins your team, the expectation is for them to become a value proposition for us.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they would have learned a lot in the law school. The conceptual learning, the fundamentals, of course, get polished and refined in the law school, but the application thereof, the real life contextualization does get polished and does get to application when you're working on a transaction and a live transaction. So that balance we see sometimes is missing in the new hires, which is when I thought, and of course with the help of EBC, we thought that, this course could add a lot of value there. In turn, the resources could add value to us in the firm.
Absolutely. It's a win-win proposition.
It's a win-win proposition.
So how did you structure your course? Like you have designed your course also, your component of that part. So how did you design it? How did you structure your course?
Correct. So in that aspect, I think, as the focus is on helping the students or helping the audience or delegates who are taking the course to develop a more analytical approach towards the fundamentals which exist. So we do have a clear framework in terms of, say, SEBI laws, say RBI laws, say Companies Act, etc. in the corporate area. How do we apply that? How do we actually, make sure that we analyze and we retrieve and we creatively think to apply those structures to the transactions at hand? So the idea was to make this course more collaborative rather than a presentation or a PPT-oriented one. The second thought was to make it more interactive. I still remember when I had a short teaching stint alongside my profession, of course, at the National Law School, Delhi. The first question I was thrown at was, what is the difference between mergers and acquisitions? So that prompted me, because teaching is the best way of learning, I think.
Absolutely.
Because when you have to teach a bright young audience, of course, you get the right energies, and at the same time, you have to be well prepared. Just like you have to be exactly and impeccably prepared for your clients, I think, the students also ensure that you're well prepared to deliver. And at the same time, it becomes a win-win situation and proposition for both of us.
Yeah.
So that way, the course has been designed to impart some of the first-hand experiences that I've had as a lawyer. And at the same time, understand from them, what the requirements are, what the situations they would want to make it more interactive and collaborative at the same time.
Right. So what will be your advice to the people who want to join law, people who are already into profession, and maybe people, since you are doing transaction side, I know quite a few who from the litigation side want to shift to transaction side. What advice you will do? Would you even suggest them taking this course?
Right. I can think of three points here. Number one is that these days, the corporate clients are very smart clients. So they expect the world of you. So the alignment of incentives has to be there. They are sharp clients, and to be able to advise sharp clients in a robust, in a credible manner, you have to add value there. So you need to be creative, you need to be innovative, and you need to add value to what they get on the table. Number two, the trend that I'm observing is that, if assuming a client is in energy space, they will expect the lawyer also to know about that domain, about that sector also. So a lawyer cannot hide under the garb of that I am a lawyer, I'll only advise you on the legal bits. So I think, overall comprehensive domain-specific knowledge and expertise is also required, which becomes a learning curve for us. So my advice to all the people who are vying for this profession and want to grow in this profession is also to focus on the domain and the industry in which the client is operating, so that the advice that they render is more comprehensive and is more robust. Number three is, of course, as I said, you have to constantly put on your thinking hats. So to be able to represent them, act for them, and advise them in the right manner, I think, thinking is what differentiates us from all the other species, all the other living beings. So you'll have to constantly think and come up with creative and innovative ways in order to help your clients. Sometimes it becomes a very saturating kind of an exercise, but it's definitely not monotonous, to say the least. So that constant thinking, that constant amalgam of your business and legal hats, and the constant impetus from the clients to be able to advise you better, I think that's an incentive enough for anyone to become a good corporate lawyer.
Absolutely. And your advice specifically for somebody to shift to transaction side, somebody who wants to shift to M&A space in specifically, I want to ask you about that. There are many people who are into academics or litigation side, but they want to move towards M&A. They find it very attractive.
Right.
So, do you think people can make that shift?
Understand, of course. So, as I said, the foundation, the conceptual knowledge they already have. I'm safely assuming that, they are technically having that knowledge, which needs to be translated into wisdom now. So, there's, of course, a lot of information superhighway and overload in terms of accessibility to information. So you have that knowledge, you just have to translate that into first-hand experience. So I think therein lies the distinction between information, which translates into knowledge, which culminates into wisdom. So I think, that transition is very easy for a person who already has the right information and knowledge. And of course, added with the opportunities, added with the first-hand experience, they can definitely make credible transactional lawyers.
Right. So, during your journey, you must have realized that there have been many areas where law school is not adequate. So, how do you look at for us, our platform also, or other edtech platforms also, how they are filling up that gap? Because that is important.
Correct. I think, I will answer this question by syncing this up with what I spoke earlier. That, the law school gives you a good platform for getting the right information, for getting your concepts right. Because as they say that, the solution to a problem is 50% diagnosis. So I think, you can do a good prognosis, hypothesis and diagnosis in the law school. But the clear solution, that first-hand experience, that first-hand application of what you have learnt, comes by experience. So I think in that, my one of the advice that I may want to share would be to do the right internships while you're at the law school, because you'll get the right opportunity to apply your learnings, say in the corporate law course, in, say, a law firm atmosphere, say in a good team atmosphere.
Right.
And then, just like they teach you in the law school, in the moot courts, read the room, read the judge. Similarly, you'll be able to read the clients, read the team, and be able to create value there.
So just for the audience, what do you look in the interns when you engage, when you hire them, or when you just take a placement as intern? What do you look at their CVs? What is the one specific thing that you want they should have?
Right. I'll answer this question in the context of assessment interns, because interns are done by a hit and trial method by the HR, but who actually make it to the assessment interns or trainees or even hires, or we give them a placement offer, are basically those who actually, again, fit the bill in terms of both the hard and soft qualities. In terms of the technical acumen, Charu, we don't really expect them to know everything, because they're freshers and we want them to learn. At the same time, we want them to contribute. So it's not as much as the technical knowledge or understanding of the transaction, but more on the softer side, that they blend well in the team, they blend with the ethos with the team, they're hard workers, and they're eager to learn.
Right.
A large part of their selection process is the communication ability as well, because as corporate lawyers, and by communication I mean not just spoken English, but by understanding of English, by comprehending of the language, by reading the language. So that's equally important, how you write, how you understand the emails, and how you present your thoughts. Because
body language is also important.
That is correct. And as a good lawyer, I think, you may concur with me and bear with me that, a good lawyer is always a person who can present his thoughts or her thoughts in a very coherent, simple, and understandable manner.
Absolutely.
So I think that is one of the qualities we look at in the interns, one of the key qualities.
So do you think the course that you are teaching, that will add value to the CV of a person who is coming for you for an internship?
Right, good question. So I think I'm hoping that the course that I'll be taking will provide them with some thoughts in terms of how to apply their already acquired knowledge to the kind of transactions that can come their way. That's number one. Number two is to give them a flavor, hang and drift of how we advise. So whatever limited knowledge we have acquired while advising the clients or acting for several clients through these years, I'm hoping to be able to impart some of that experience to the students so that they understand that, this is what they're in for, so that they can then rightly analyze and apply. And thirdly, so that they're not taken by surprise, because what the expectations of the client are or what the expectations of your seniors are in the team, if they are known to that, then it will be a known devil that they're facing instead of an unknown friend. And the last bit is, of course, as mentioned earlier, the idea is to make this course very collaborative, interactive, so that we understand from the students what they want to hear, we understand their experience and expectations, and then, deliver accordingly, work towards a problem-solving approach and an outcome-driven approach rather than a mere presentation-based approach.
Yeah.
Correct.
So any parting advice you'd like to give?
I think the one thing that I've learned through the last 15 odd years of my experience is don't shy from hard work. I think, hard work always pays. Smart work, of course, is the order of the day, but at the end, hard work always pays. I've seen instances of people coming from smaller towns and making fabulous, credible lawyers. So I think if they continue to work hard in the right direction, with the right support and with the right motive, that's the only advice I would like to give at the moment.
So thank you, Ketan, for your time. And I hope you have learned enough from Ketan, and we are looking forward to have more interaction with you, Ketan, in future. Thank you.
Thank you again, Charu, for having me.